Hello, this is Lighthouse Cinema Lad, and today's video is going to be a versus. It's going to be a versus between the Lighthouse 2016 and the Lighthouse 2019. And the basis of this versus is going to have 5 components: the narrative, the cinematography, the mise-en-scène, editing, and the sound. Now, with the Lighthouse 2016, to me, it was an alright film that showcased the grim side of people being secluded from one another. The cabin fever aspect of trauma around death and religion drives the characters into a slow, mentally torturing horror that blends reality with nightmares. Now, with the Lighthouse 2019, it's a film that showed the mechanics of running a lighthouse. During the process, the two keepers learn information about each other, quite some personal information, a bit way too personal if you ask me. If you add in the secludedness, the fog, and the storm, the reality begins to become altered into something completely frightening. And let's start with the narrative. The narrative of the Lighthouse 2016. You have text that reveals location, time period, and the setting of the story. You also have narration of the activities of a lighthouse keeper, and one character is religious while the other is more stern and standoffish. You also have some additional narration of the weather, such as the raining and the hard storms, which I believe set the mood of being in despair and having no hope. And there's constant back and forth conversations between the two characters on religion and death. On the death aspect of that, conversations about dead family members and dead crewmen. Now with the Lighthouse 2019, you have the labor aspect of running a lighthouse, such as carrying heavy machinery to the top of the lighthouse. And as the days go on, Winslow opens himself up to Wake, telling him of his troubles in life. And then a storm arrives and the objective becomes waiting the storm out. Winslow becomes curious as to what Wake is doing at the top of the lighthouse at night. And with the narrative bit, I would say that the 2016 film has the better narrative overall compared to the 2019. And now on to the cinematography. With the Lighthouse 2016, you have grey and dull aesthetics. While being a film shot in colour, the camera is up and close to the subjects. There's some symmetrical shots going on of the lighthouse, and you have shots with the lighthouse light, like the big light that rotates. I don't know what it's called, but you have shots of that. And like there's a bit of an orange lens flare too, which I kind of appreciated. You also have shots of religious instruments such as Bibles and wooden Jesus statues. Now the third act uses light being placed on a single focus object to show time being played with, which I thought was done well. Now with the Lighthouse 2019, obviously it's a black and white film, and there's still shots of the keepers in a retro 1930-ish film style, which I really appreciated. This film also has symmetrical shots. Quite a few actually, more than the 2016 film. They had symmetric shots of, like the bedroom was one that I noticed quite quickly, in the corridor inside the lighthouse. Now with the lighting, it focuses on our subject, and with this the background produces shadows, which I appreciated. And you also have like a bit with the light at the top of the lighthouse, having a crystal light to it while spinning. You have also some zooming in and out of bodies and close-up shots of the characters experiencing joy and terror. With the cinematography, I would give it to the Lighthouse 2019. Now you have the mise-en-scène. With the 2016 film, primarily you have black and brown costumes with a tough, worn-in look to them. Now despite starting off rocky due to different personalities, the two keepers, they do establish a rapport with each other, because you have the stern keeper. He has more faith in the lighthouse, and he treats the lighthouse as if it's an entity in itself. Now with the religious keeper, being the main keeper, to lose his mind due to cabin fever and tragedy. To me, it showcased how thoughts can cause the human psyche to suffer, because he's stuck in this place with this other man who's a bit more stern, and eventually it takes a toll on him. Now, with the 2019 film, one thing I noticed towards the beginning of the film, the character of Winslow, he finds a wooden sculpture of a mermaid, which I believe was a great piece of foreshadowing for the final act of the film. And you have the character of Wake being the more experienced keeper, and he treats the lighthouse as an intimate object. And Winslow is more of a straightforward character until the lighthouse and Wake begin to have an effect on him. Now, with this section, I would say that this one's a bit tough because both films are quite similar in this aspect, but I would probably edge it towards the 2016 version. Next, we have the editing. With the 2016 version, you have a fast-paced editing style that lends itself to action, such as the fighting in the heavy storm scenes, and the top of the lighthouse scenes at night during the storm having a slow back and forth style that is, well, to me, I believe was mimicking the action of waves going high and low. Now, with the 2019 version, you have close-up shots of the mechanics of a lighthouse, shots where the subject, be it a human or a duck, are in the center of the shot. You also have still shots of the lighthouse at night, almost as if it's an entity itself. And you have shots of Winslow out of focus, with the machinery being in focus. And you also get tracking shots of the lighthouse from the bottom to the top. Now, with the editing, I will give this to the 2019 version. I think the 2019 editing is a bit better. And then we have the final aspect of sound. With the 2016 version, you have a piano score that is somber, slow, but heavy. You also have ambient noises of wind and waves, heavy breathing during scenes of worry, and a repetitive bell sound on the top of the lighthouse to alert ships. There's also constant water dripping in the cabin, adding a frantic, cozy vibe to the film. And you have the use of a distorted, screeching, alarm-like sound to illustrate one starting to lose their mind. And with the 2019 version, you have heavy mechanic ambient noises, particularly in the first shot with the keepers arriving to the lighthouse. You also get an siren-like humming noise, you get constant rain, you get screeching noises, you get horns blaring in the background. Climax of the film, you get a static sound that I thought was done well for the climax of Wake's character. With the sound aspect, I'm going to give it to the 2019 version. I think the 2019 version sound is a bit more diverse. The victor of this versus the Lighthouse 2019, to me personally, it's a better film. And Lighthouse 2016 is not complete rubbish or anything, but compared to Lighthouse 2019, it's quite clear which one is a bit better. But yeah, that will be all for this versus. The Lighthouse 2019 wins, and if you enjoyed this video, thank you and you have a lovely day. Goodbye.